Hey everybody, welcome back. I was looking forward to the type of quotes I will be sharing today because I knew somebody was going to make it eventually. Which means it makes my arguments a lot easier to make, and it makes this video that I'm making now a lot easier to produce, as it's very straightforward. So, I will be giving you 3 quotes. Let's do it. Quote number 1, from Carolyn. She writes, "This awareness has drained all the magic from the world of Hogwarts Legacy for me. It's short-sighted, it's centrist, be mindful of that. It's crushingly ordinary, the same way that forces like racism and transphobia are the most ordinary, tiresome things in the world." Second quote from Carolyn. "Yes, the game has a trans woman in it, who you can't miss. Yes, your character can defy gender norms. Here's my position on that. It doesn't matter." Shocking. Quote number 3, by Jim Sterling. "I'm told they added a token trans NPC to pivot the conversation away from JKR. They're barely in it." Now, when Jim is stating they're barely in it, he's referring to the trans character as barely in the game. Which, if you remember correctly, this tweet was made before the game released. So, he's right. The trans character is hardly in the game, which is great, because the majority of the gaming populace don't want to see that kind of stuff. But, nevertheless, let's dive into why I'm showcasing these 3 quotes. So what they both admit, what both people, Jim and Carolyn, both admit is, well, albeit with indirect language, is that Hogwarts Legacy isn't woke enough. If this sounds irrational, I'll remind you that the Gamergate media insisted that Far Cry 5 wasn't woke enough also. See these articles for more on that. So what I'm saying isn't coming out of nowhere. I'm simply recognizing a pattern of behavior from the media and from the developers themselves. The question is, did the Rainbow Cult get what they wanted out of Hogwarts Legacy? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. The trans character was portrayed as being moral, protective, caring, and witty. So the Rainbow Cult got what they wanted. The reason they still lash out is because they aren't in every leading role. Within these leading roles, the Rainbow Cult members must be a political hammer smashing the patriarchy and transphobia and all that. Again, the game was too centrist. Remember? Carolyn said so. Meaning, it wasn't political enough. If you're not seeing the pattern of behavior, allow me to simplify what's happening. The Rainbow Cult essentially want everything from comic books, novels, media, and video games to be a duplicate of The Last of Us 2. Which brings to mind a kind of funny comparison. Did you know that Days Gone had a biracial lesbian duo? But, of course, that didn't stop the Rainbow Cult from targeting the married, heterosexual main protagonist in that game. Instead of playing Days Gone and celebrating the inclusivity, they instead aimed their vile diarrhea mouths in the direction of the heterosexual married couple. Weird, right? They don't want inclusion. That's a lie. They want supremacy. The Rainbow Cult wished to be portrayed as the moral, intellectual, emotional, and even sexual superior to everyone else. That's why they keep complaining about the representation that they are getting. They're complaining because it's not good enough. These people won't stop until they are cast as saints among men. And that's the bottom line. They're going to keep complaining until every single role in every single piece of entertainment and media is bombarded by these people being the moral superiors to everyone else. Now, here's a second point I'd like to make. In response to some of the concern on the right regarding Hogwarts Legacy, here's number 1. Number 1 I hear a lot is people saying that if you buy Hogwarts Legacy, then you're financing the enemy, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, which I would normally agree with because, for all intents and purposes, Hogwarts Legacy does have woke features in the game, but I'll get to that in a minute. But to the offense, to the people saying if you buy Hogwarts Legacy, you're only supporting this madness, to that I would say, if you've purchased or read the Harry Potter books or watched the movies, then you're already, or you have already, still supported a screeching liberal. That screeching liberal being JKR. You have to remember that J.K. Rowling's liberalism ends where transgenderism begins. That's the only difference between us and her and them. The difference between those of us on the right, we're against it all wholesale. Whereas J.K. Rowling is okay with most of it, but then she kind of stops being okay with transgenderism because of the simple facts of biology. Now, here's my point number 2 about this issue, about the complaints on the right. Here's my response. Is it possible that they being Avalanche, added the trans whatever character in the game to satisfy the ESG requirements, not because the entirety of the workforce within Avalanche is woke? Again, refer back to Jim Sterling's tweet when he said that there's a token trans NPC in the game, and that's just to redirect the hatred because of blah blah blah, right? So if that's true, if he was right about the trans character barely being in the game, could he be right about the first part also? Which I would just so happen to agree with, just by mere coincidence. Not that I agree with Jim Sterling 99.9% of the time. I'm just saying this 1%, or the 0.01% is the one time where I would actually agree with Jim. So my final point is kind of a doozy here, so buckle up. I'll be drifting hard into negativity lane. The last bastion of freedom we have left is our freedom of choice. That is, our ability to tell the rainbow cult no. This is the last true independent right we have left. The only thing the rainbow cult has left to conquer us with is to create a process by which we won't even be able to say no to them anymore. I'm going to make a prediction. The ESG, well, as it already exists in its current form, so the ESG already exists, and video game companies already are at the mercy of the ESG to provide them a score for their obedience. That already exists. All that remains is for the ESG to become one with the social credit score system for us, the users, the citizens, and then our freedom of choice is gone forever. This is what I predict they plan on implementing soon, unless these technocratic transhumanist monsters are driven away somehow. Now, if that sounded like a massive black pill, I'll try to balance things out with a white pill. Here's the white pill. The way to circumvent these crazies, the way to circumvent these monopoly corporations and media outlets, the way to circumvent these people is by building our own. I go right along with the Andrew Torba and the other people who have been parading this idea around. It is successful. If you look at Gab, it's already successful. We have to create our own all over again. Yes, I know, it kind of sucks having to start all over again and rebuild, but when we do, it must absolutely be gatekept. Don't shy away from that phrase. I know that the liberal left and the rainbow cult like to make gatekeeping sound like it's a horrible thing. It's already been proven. We've seen what happens when we let them in, to play with the other reindeer and all the other reindeer games. We've already seen where that happens. As soon as they get a foothold, they want to take control over it all and ruin it for everybody else. Ruin it for the majority. So we need to rebuild, and we need to do so and gatekeep it all away from those people. So Gab is a perfect example of this being a success. It is being gatekept. The Rainbow Cult and the liberals can't just come over, usurp, and destroy. They can't do that with Gab. So the same thing needs to be done with, say, a Nexus mod manager. We need an alternative to that. So we need somebody to step up. I would if I had the technical know-how and the finances to back that up. I would have already done it by now. Well, anyway, that's all I have for this video. It probably went on a little bit longer than I anticipated. But, as usual, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Share this video with everybody, because I think I made some pretty special points here. Special points. Choice points. So if you like it, do all the social stuff. Hit me up on Gab. I'll respond. I'm a nice guy. Even if you disagree with me. Doesn't matter. Hit me up on Gab. I'll talk it out with you. Until next time, have fun.